All right, now, so I presume you can talk about anything and everything. What do you, how do you see this trade for Christian and what he brings to the Mavericks?
Yeah, I mean, Christian, he gives us something that we don't have. He's a good rebounder. He's super athletic. He'll be great with Luka in the pick and roll. He can play above the rim. He can also shoot. I mean, he's an offensive guy at that position. So he's an athletic offensive guy. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, Nico, what can you tell us about Jaden Hardy?
He's a young kid, played in the G League Ignite, and he can really score the ball. Super talented. He's still raw. He's young, so it's gonna take a while. He was a second-round draft pick, but he can really score the ball at a high level.
What's his upside in your estimation?
Upside in terms of explain a little bit more. What do you mean?
Do you see him being a rotation guy sometime in the next year or two?
Yeah, I think you got to give young guys a chance to develop, but definitely we drafted him because we think he'll be a rotation player for sure.
What was the pre-draft process with you guys and Jaden, and what did you like about him personally in that process?
We like really his. If you look at the way he grew with the Ignite, he started off a little slow. He really came into his own. He's athletic. He's long wingspan, good size. He can get to the basket at will, and he's really. I mean, he's a scorer, and he's scored. He's been a scorer his whole life, but I think when you take a kid that doesn't go to college and tries the G League Ignite and is playing with older, more mature people, and you see him develop as he's going through that, it just shows you what he can become.
First of all, were you surprised as he kept slipping? And where did you guys have him on your board?
We had him higher than 37. Yeah, we were surprised. We were really shocked that he kept slipping.
And then the other thing is it was obviously noticeable to everybody that the Knicks cleared out quite a bit of salary cap space, and I think it's pretty obvious what they're trying to do. What is your concern level with that?
I mean, we're aware of it, but you know, we knew they would do that. We weren't shocked that they did that. They tried to do it at the trade deadline, so you know, don't really have a concern level. I mean, it was expected.
We were joking about not having made a pick yet in your time here before the draft. How much of an inclination did you have going in that you might trade back in, or you mentioned him sliding a little bit? How much did you think that might happen, that you all would get back in?
I had no inclination. I just knew that we did the work. We knew the guys we liked, and if guys we liked, like Jaden, were available, that we would try to get back in. And so you can't predict that. And it happened, and so we did as we said we would do. We got in and got the player that we liked.
You've seen a lot of second-round picks end up on two-way deals. Do you anticipate that Hardy will be one of your 15, or is a two-way still a possibility for him?
Not sure yet, but either way, we expect him to be a guy that has a long-term future with us.
And then, I don't know how much you feel like you can talk about Brunson at this point. Clearly you guys said going into the offseason, keeping him was a top priority. Just curious your level of optimism at this point in the process.
Honestly, until he tells us that he doesn't want to be here, we're optimistic. We haven't heard otherwise, so we're optimistic. We have to be.
Going back to Christian, with him being in the last year of his contract, do you guys right now view him as a future piece of the organization, or are you taking a wait-and-see approach with that?
I think we both offer each other a lot. And so I think we will have to do a little bit of showing him, and he'll have to do a little bit of showing us, if that makes sense.
Just again with Christian, is it his athleticism? What was it? And well, first of all, how quickly did that come together last week? And obviously, it was agreed to. And how what drew you to him? I know some people have had a fascination with him for quite some time.
I mean, not to sound like super obvious, but we don't have a guy that does what he does. I mean, we just don't. And there's several guys in the league that do that, but are you going to be able to get them or not? And he was a guy that we saw that we could get, and it just made sense. I mean, he fits a piece that we don't have currently on our roster.
Along those lines, the front court was an area that you wanted to address. How much do you feel like you've addressed it, and where do you think the roster sits now as you get ready to go into free agency? How close do you think you are?
Well, the biggest question is, Jalen Brunson. So it's tough to say how set the roster is till and that's going to be the first thing that happens. And once you know that, then you go along with the rest of the plan.
With Jaden, it was kind of clear that he had some struggles in his first year against higher competition, higher level of competition. How did that affect your evaluation of him going into the draft?
It actually affected it in a positive way, if that makes sense, because he did struggle early on, but then he figured it out. And so it's kind of like if you look at the G League Ignite as a experiment, it shows that it works.
For a guy like Jaden that was such a highly ranked recruit coming out of high school and he goes into G League, why do you think that he slipped to 37?
I have no idea. I can't really tell you what other teams are thinking or saying. I'm glad he did. We're excited that he did. He's excited to be here, so I'm happy he slipped.
Are there any other post-draft, undrafted deals that have been made since then?
Explain yourself.
Sorry, bad question. Undrafted deals as far as like two-way guys or summer league deals since the draft is concluded?
Yeah, we're actually, they're still in the back working on the summer league team, so that won't be completed for a while.
Yeah, I know you traveled with the team, went to all the games and all that. Did you get a chance to go to Frisco and see Jalen play at any time during the season?
I got to see him play during the showcase. But, I mean, all of our scouts got to see him play. I watched tons of film on him. I saw him play in high school. We're familiar with him.
What stood out the most to you about him?
I mean, I'll say the same thing. I mean, he's a guy that can go get a bucket. He's strong. He's athletic. He's a scorer. I think his upside is he's played with mature guys, and he's been successful with strong, mature guys. And so I think if you look at a guy doing that in college versus doing it in G League Ignite, I think it's closer to what the NBA game is. And, like I said earlier, he struggled early on, and he figured it out and got better and better. And if you look at his teammates, one of the things is, he's doesn't pass the ball, a little selfish. Those were kind of the knocks on him. But if you look at the way he played, his team always gave him the ball because they trusted him. They know he has the work ethic. He put the time in the gym. And so if you look at his teammates, and some of them are veterans, he had the ball in his hand because they gave him the ball. If you see the shot clock running down, they gave him the ball. They only do that for people they trust.
Was your trade the absolute last one that the league got to tonight?
I believe so.
I figured.